There is a ton of stuff going on at the border with the ending of Title 42. There's ongoing discussion about Biden family corruption, but I'm going to save those topics for Debbie and my weekly roundup. We're going to take them up shortly. I thought I would open the podcast today by talking about Kari Lake's election lawsuit. And I'm seeing a good bit of reporting on it, and the reporting is actually highly distorted and misleading. Misleading in what the case actually is about and where it even stands. So if you were to look at the articles on the Kari Lake lawsuit, they seem to suggest that Kari Lake's claims are being dismissed one after the other. And in fact, most recently, she was fined by the court, the Arizona Supreme Court, for making a false claim in one of her filings. And you have to sort of read down the articles. Oh, well, here is a headline: Arizona Supreme Court sanctions Kari Lake attorney for making false statements to the court. And you would think that's the big news here. And then you read down the article, and first of all, you realize that this sanction is a $2,000 fine for the misuse of a single word. So in one of her filings, Kari Lake apparently said it was, quote, undisputed that a whole bunch of ballots had been added illicitly to the total. And not only did the Arizona Supreme Court not decide the fact of the matter, but the Arizona Supreme Court merely said, no, that is not undisputed, because in fact, Hobbs does dispute it. And so it has not in fact been established, and therefore it's wrong to call it undisputed. So for the kind of italics put on this word, I'm going to give you a $2,000 fine. Well, okay, that's annoying sanction, but I think in some ways it was an inappropriate sanction for this reason, that you have all these ballots that have come into the Runbeck facility to be tabulated, and Runbeck has the delivery receipts for 263,379 ballots. And then, if you fast forward and you look at the number of ballots scanned, you discover that while 263,379 were delivered, 298,942 were scanned. Wait, where'd the extra ballots come from? How did they get here? You got a certain number of ballots and you scanned more than you got, and you didn't scan one or two more, you scanned 35,563 more. Now, the Kari Lake people and also a group called We the People Arizona Alliance has demanded that Maricopa County and Runbeck Election Services, who was doing the tabulating here, should show the video footage of their facility, which could show, you could see, where did these new ballots come from? How did they get somehow into the mix? But Maricopa County and Runbeck refused to provide this footage. In any event, I agree that the idea that this is undisputed was an exaggeration, and so there's a $2,000 fine. But again, what's the main point? The main point is that the Arizona Supreme Court told the lower court, you must, quote, forthwith, meaning right now, right away, you must litigate the issue of whether or not Kari Lake is right that the signatures don't match. In other words, that the signature verification was conducted improperly, not according to law, and of a magnitude enough to put the election into dispute. Let's remember, by the way, that this was a close election decided by a few thousand votes. Earlier, Judge Peter Thompson dismissed the lawsuit. There was actually a lot of evidence provided by Kari Lake, but he ignored most of it and just basically goes, there's nothing here. I think it just reflected the fact that courts don't like to consider this kind of case. But the fact of the matter is the Supreme Court goes, this is the Supreme Court of the state of Arizona. So not the U.S. Supreme Court, but the Arizona Supreme Court. They go, no, we're not going to litigate some of Kari Lake's claims, but we are going to allow a trial. And by the way, this trial is coming up. It's coming up in a few days. It's going to be a 3-day trial on the specific issue of the signature verification. And And Kari Lake's people have a lot to show. They're going to go into the issue of the signatures, but they're also going to go into one other issue that has just come up, and that is this. I'm just going to quote from Kari Lake's attorney, Kurt Olson. Maricopa officials conducted secret testing on the tabulators on October 14th, 17th, and 18th. And he further stated that, quote, 260 of the 446 tabulators failed, but were, quote, then used in the election. So you test the tabulator, it doesn't work, and you're like, man, let's use it. This would suggest to me deliberate action and a deliberate effort to thwart the outcome of the election and to suppress the Republican vote. Again, I don't know if this issue will even be allowed because the focus of the trial is on signature verification and signature verification seemingly alone. So it may be that this just remains an open issue, but I just hope that we're able to get to the bottom of what happened in the 2022 election in Arizona, because from what I've seen, things are not on the up and up.